Have you ever found yourself paralyzed by the fear of failure, afraid to take that next step towards your dreams? This fear of failure is a common phenomenon that affects many of us, often becoming an insurmountable obstacle on our path to success. Imagine fear as a towering wall, standing tall and intimidating, blocking our path forward. We stand on one side, dreams and ambitions in our hearts, but the other side is obscured by this wall of fear. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of falling short, the fear that we might not live up to the expectations we've set for ourselves or those others have set for us. This fear can be overpowering, paralyzing us in our tracks, stopping us from reaching out and grabbing opportunities that could lead us to our goals. But here's the thing. Fear is a universal experience. We all face it at some point in our lives. The fear of failure is a universal experience, but it's how we respond to this fear that truly matters. But what exactly triggers this fear of failure in our minds? Let's dive into the psychological aspects of it. You see, our brains are hardwired to avoid risks. This is a survival mechanism, a relic from our prehistoric ancestors who faced real life-threatening risks on a daily basis. Avoiding danger meant survival. Fast forward to today, this mechanism is still active, even though the threats we face are mostly psychological, not physical. It's this primitive part of our brain that triggers the fear of failure when we're faced with risks and uncertainties. But there's more to it. Our past experiences, particularly negative ones, can amplify this fear. If we failed before and experienced pain, our brain wants to protect us from repeating that pain, and let's not forget societal pressure. The fear of being judged or ridiculed can be paralyzing, pushing us further into the safety of our comfort zones. Our brains might be wired to avoid risks, but it's important to remember that growth often happens outside our comfort zones. How does this fear of failure affect our productivity and overall performance? You see, fear of failure can be a massive roadblock to productivity. It often manifests itself through procrastination, perfectionism, and the avoidance of challenging tasks. Think about it. When we're afraid of failing, we tend to put off tasks, convincing ourselves that we're just not ready yet. This is procrastination in action, the thief of our precious time and productivity. On the other hand, we might fall into the trap of perfectionism. We spend hours, days, or even weeks perfecting a task, constantly fine-tuning it, never quite satisfied. While quality is important, this excessive focus on perfection can hinder our productivity and progress. And then there's the avoidance of challenging tasks. When we fear failure, we often stick to what we know, avoiding new and difficult tasks that could potentially lead to growth. Fear of failure can create a vicious cycle of underperformance and self-doubt, but it doesn't have to be this way. So how can we break free from this fear and take confident steps towards our goals? Well, the first step is to set realistic goals. Goals that challenge us yet are achievable with hard work and dedication. This way, the fear of failure becomes less daunting because we know that with effort we can reach our targets. Next, we need to change our perspective on mistakes. Instead of viewing them as failures, let's see them as learning opportunities. Each mistake is a lesson that brings us one step closer to success. It's like finding out which keys on a piano don't work so you can play a beautiful melody. The more mistakes you make, the closer you are to playing your tune perfectly. Moreover, we need to practice positive self-talk. When we stumble, it's easy to fall into a pit of negative thoughts. But remember, what we tell ourselves has a profound impact on our mindset. So instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I can do this and I will do this." Finally, we need to see failure not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone towards success. Every successful person has failed numerous times before they succeeded. So why should we be any different? Overcoming fear isn't about eliminating it completely, but about learning to move forward despite it. Scene script. In conclusion, fear of failure is a natural part of being human. We've explored how this fear stems from deep psychological roots and how it can cripple productivity. But remember, it's not an insurmountable obstacle. There are strategies to conquer it, to move from paralysis to action. Remember, it's not failure, but the fear of failure that holds you back. So go forth, make mistakes, learn and grow. After all, the only real failure lies in never trying at all.